Waco. I am your host, Debbie, here to help you get in the know about Waco.
This week, I'm going to be talking about a brand new coffee shop here in Waco, and I have a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Alex Sanchez, co-owner of Be Kind Coffee.
Yeah, and what brought you to Waco, or are you a Waco native?
I am not a Waco native, unfortunately. I do tell people I got here as soon as I could. I'm originally from south of Houston.
Oh, okay.
I came here for work.
You're like the fourth H-Town person. Like, literally the last 4 guests I've had on the show have said, oh, we're from the Houston area, or we're from Houston.
I won't claim to be from Houston because people actually from Houston get upset about
fight
that.
You.
Of course. So like an hour south of Houston.
Okay, where is that located?
Lake Jackson, Texas.
Oh, okay. So closer to the coast.
Closer to the beach, about 10, 15 minutes away.
Okay, yeah. And you came here for work?
I did.
So how long have you been living in Waco now?
Since like early 2017.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what got you involved in Be Kind Coffee?
We set out to start a coffee shop early this year, and it actually started out as cookies.
Oh, I know. I saw you guys cookies at Pinewoods.
Yeah, that's more of a new development. And so we actually kind of just I started doing cookies in the pandemic. My fiance is vegan.
Oh, okay.
And we were stuck at home. And she wanted some cookies one day. And so I'm like, all right, I don't know how to bake, but let me see what I can do. YouTube, lots of Googling. It's a little different when you get into like the vegan realm of things. And so just having fun with it, stuck at home and made dozens and dozens of cookies. And, they were good. And every time it got a little bit better. And so when it came time I was like, oh, this would be cool to sell at some point. And when the coffee shop opportunity started happening, it came with the use of a commercial kitchen that they just have. And I knew that, well, we have access to a kitchen. Why don't we use it? So took the cookies, started making more. And that's when like the Be Kind brand became more of the cookie thing. Yeah. And that's when we wanted to take it and make it bigger. Yeah. And so beyond cookies, it grew into the coffee shop brand.
Yeah. And why the name Be Kind?
It started from we were very hesitant, took a lot of brainstorming sessions, kept on coming back to be kind, do good, things like that. I think our original goal was intending to spread a positive message, no matter what we're doing, whether it's cookies, whether it's coffee, whether it's apparel, whatever. There's lots of negativity in the world these days, and whether it's just in the country, in the world, or here in town, we wanted to spread a message of just being kind, no matter what it is you're doing. Yeah. And if that's the way we can do it, and a lot of people seem to resonate with that.
Yeah, and I love that, and I love your branding. What has it been like starting a business during the pandemic, or at least now we might be going back into it, even with that hesitancy?
I will say that it's been better than we initially expected. So obviously you go in, it's this crazy time in the world and you have low expectations, but
keep your expectations low.
Yeah,
that way anything you do is better than that.
For sure.
Yeah.
You always keep them low and then you're happy with anything else.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how we went into it with, we had the opportunity at the Waco Custom Marketplace building.
Over on Lake Air Drive?
On Lake Air Drive, 425 Lake Air Drive.
Ooh.
And Will actually did the branding for the Waco Custom Marketplace.
Will Suarez, shout out.
Whenever they first opened. And so he knew Brian Bauer, the owner of the place, and had that opportunity where we could kind of go in and do something on that side of the building. And what was the question again?
Just kind of how it developed through the pandemic and some of your concerns or what it was like.
And so it was kind of a great opportunity because obviously like they wanted to bring something in there. And so it's this kind of thing where we go into the business and it helps them, but it was a really great opportunity location wise, price wise. Like we don't have to purchase an entire building to start something. It's more so, hey, here's an area, do what you can with it and see what happens. Yeah. And so I think the pandemic did not help things, but it created opportunities where there may not have been.
Yeah, especially when you started by Corona cooking.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of small businesses have been born out of the pandemic just due to boredom and then having free time. So that's
lots of time
crazy.
to think.
Yeah, time to think, reflect on life.
Yeah.
Have
sure.
Existential dread? No.
A little too much of that. And so that is something, and definitely a big part of having gone through a pandemic and being still in one, was I always told Will, if we ever did something, I wanted it to have a drive-through. And so that would be the goal. And he's like, well, there's an opportunity. And so with the building, if nobody's ever been there, there is a door on the side of the building that we have repurposed into kind of like a Chick-fil-A style walk up to your car and take your order drive-through.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I didn't know that.
We make it very easy. The door opens, we go out, someone pulls up in their car, we take their order, we go in and we make it.
Yeah. And how long have you guys been at this location now?
We have been open as Be Kind since May 22nd.
Wow. And now I heard you guys might be thinking of a second location. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So that's kind of the big announcement for today, is we are hoping to open up a second location inside of the Union Hall building on Franklin Avenue. We're shooting for mid-September, I would say.
All right. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And what are some of the things that you guys carry besides coffee, of course?
So our goal from the very get-go has always been to make the best specialty coffee possible, as fast as possible, and as kind as possible.
Oh.
And so our goal with the brand is it's very approachable, I would say. You know, if you ever go into a coffee shop, maybe you don't know too much about coffee. It's a little intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't know the difference between a cappuccino, a latte,
I'm always
cortado,
like,
that's
iced
okay.
latte.
Yeah. And a lot of people will default to an iced vanilla latte because that's just what they know. There's nothing wrong with that. And we want everybody to know that that's okay.
You don't have to be a basic white girl.
You don't have to be. If you want to be, you can be.
Yeah.
I am half the time as well. I like a good sweet drink.
Exactly.
Who doesn't? But we also offer all of the standard things as well. So if you want to get a plain cortado, I want it to be the best cortado you have that day. And so that's our goal. Is it's very approachable, and with like the cute branding and stuff like that, we want an elderly person to enjoy it just as much as a college girl.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the goal that it's been.
And that's really what the market here in Waco is. So what have you noticed as a small business owner here in the community? Have you guys received a lot of support or any pushback or anything?
No pushback yet.
Okay.
Obviously, as you grow, it's going to be unavoidable. But we've actually received a lot more support than we thought we were going to initially. Having opened at the very end of the spring, as summer was starting, we knew that Baylor students were going to be leaving pretty much as we were opening. And obviously, being in Waco, it's a college town. Most of the population is Baylor students. And so that does affect like businesses and restaurants here in town. They get slower during the summer months, and a lot of business owners know that. So going into it, we kind of had expectations that maybe business would dip a little bit. You know, we're pretty new. It's going to be a slow summer. We actually saw the opposite.
Wow.
And so I don't know if it's because there's a drive-through or just because it's something new in town. But we actually had a lot of support a lot sooner than we thought from people of Waco, which has been awesome. And now that students are coming back, I will say a lot more students are showing up. So it's only getting better.
That's great. And I heard you guys are hiring. Tell us how people can come work for you.
We are hiring. We're looking for at least like 5 or 6 more people, I'd say, at the moment. And especially for our new Union Hall location. If people want to shoot me an email at hello@bekindcoffeecrew.com, we'll happy to get back to you. And I promise we're a fun place to work for. And we try to treat people as well as they will hopefully treat us.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I always ask this to everybody. What's something that you would like to see more of in Waco?
I think like camaraderie, like not looking at other people as like competition or like your enemies, but it's more so like, what can we do for each other to like just help the city as a whole? And so that's something like we're trying to do right now with Pinewood Coffee.
Yeah.
At the moment, they're roasting all of our coffee.
Wow.
And so we actually serve our own blend from Pinewood. We call it our Kill 'em with Kindness blend.
Oh, I love that.
It's awesome. It's a 50% Mexican Chiapas blend and a 50% washed Ethiopian. It's delicious. And we're trying to build that community here in town. Not too many other coffee shops kind of like work together here for whatever reason. But we're trying to build that. They're selling our cookies now.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's been fun. They've been keeping us very busy with that as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm so glad that our community is coming together for things like this. Is there anybody in the community you would like to shout out?
I will say definitely from day one, obviously my partner Will, he's been very integral. Can't do it. I would never want to try to do this alone. It's very difficult just having two of us.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And so I will say Will has created this brand, and it's helped, like people seeing that it helps convey our message that we're trying to get across of being kind and spreading that. Another person would be the guy who makes most of our cookies at the moment. I may have invented them, but my friend Chris, he bakes most of the cookies right now, and he does a very great job. In addition to working a whole other job.
Shout out Chris.
He's stepped in and has helped a lot more than I had originally asked him to do. And so he's been very integral in us growing the cookie part of the business.
Yeah. So how did you guys even get involved with Coffee First, or what's your experience with coffee?
I was a food photographer.
Oh, okay.
For many years. And my thing was I always enjoyed doing photos for coffee shops. That's how I initially got into coffee, and just it was a cool community. Coffee's very pretty. Coffee shops are very cute and cool and hip. And so I always enjoyed taking pictures at and for coffee shops.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like my first foray. It's like, oh, cool. I like coffee. It's good. Don't know anything about it. But I always told myself it'd be really cool to be a barista one day. I never had the time. But I always thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And so that is how my fiance, actually, she was taking a semester off from school before grad school, and she got a job working for Will at Curbside when he was involved with Curbside.
Yep.
And that's how I got to meet Will, and that's how she became a barista and kind of like got me into like, oh, tell me about that. That's so cool. And then unfortunately, I was laid off from my job back in 2019. And so I had some free time.
And that's when the cookies started.
Not quite.
Okay.
Almost.
Okay.
It was a little pre-pandemic.
Oh, okay.
So I got laid off before it was cool.
Oh, okay. Before the rest of the world.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
You're a trendsetter.
Yeah. And so I had some free time, and I was just talking to Will, and it was always like on my radar that one day in like my 10-year plan, I would have loved to open up a coffee shop. Didn't know anything about coffee. Didn't know what it took. Didn't know what I was getting myself into. But I just like, oh, people that work at coffee shops, people that own coffee shops, they're cool. How do we get there? And so he was like, well, you're not doing anything right now. Why don't you come work? So what had actually happened is they were doing an event, the Waco Wonderland event downtown around Christmas time.
Yep, every year.
And I had gone just to go visit my fiance because they were there and making coffee and stuff. And they were slammed. Absolutely.
I know. I tried to get coffee.
Insanely busy that day. And line was crazy and stuff. And they just needed help. And I was there waiting on a drink. And I just stepped in and started helping.
Wow. That's great.
And they were like, well, you want to come back tomorrow? So I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. May as well. And so that's kind of like how I got into starting to learn about coffee, was just as they were starting, I was able to kind of be around, learn a little more and stuff. And started working part-time with them, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do next.
Yeah. And where do you guys see yourselves going? Hoping, pandemic permitting.
Yeah. So we actually, with the opening of our second location, that is next on the roadmap next month. And our 5-year plan is we would like to have 10.
Oh, wow.
And so that's what we're working on right now.
Are you planning on expanding out of Central Texas or Waco, or?
That's the goal.
Okay.
Yep. So that's our long-term plan is and I think it's something that a lot of small businesses don't think of is we don't want to limit ourselves to just being a Waco business forever. I worked for a startup for multiple years, and I had a blast doing that. And I've always wanted to do that again. And so here we are. How can we grow past being a small, quote unquote, mom and pop business into something a little bit bigger? And so that's something that we're trying to work on, and we're trying to make Be Kind from the very get-go. And people may notice with like our social media and like the way we do things and like how we're structuring like our menu and stuff, we're trying to be a bigger brand than we currently are.
Yeah, and I actually found you guys through just seeing posts on Facebook and seeing branding. I was like, wait, this is in Waco? And I was like, oh, well, I need to reach out to them immediately. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah, of course. And of course, give us all your socials where we can find you, more information about you.
Yeah, our website is bekindcoffeecrew.com. That's where you can sign up for our email list and get signed up for our rewards program and stuff. And then on Instagram and Facebook, Be Kind Coffee Crew. Be Kind Coffee was taken, unfortunately.
Dang.
For now. But Be Kind Coffee Crew everywhere. We post every day.
Wow, that's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you coming and talking with me.
For sure.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to your new location, so that's super exciting.
Yeah, thank you. It's a little intimidating, but we're going to get there. And we've got a great team supporting us, behind us. Everybody from day one has been awesome. We do have a very solid team at the moment, I would say. And at the end of the day, the business is because of them. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that are making the coffee, serving the people day in, day out. Although I've been there a little too much the past couple months. But at the end of the day, they are the reason why we're going to succeed. Has little less to do with me and Will, and more so about how they are spreading our message and spreading the kindness around.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. It's great meeting you.
Oh.
Thank you for tuning into this week's podcast. This is your host, Debbie, signing off. Now that you know, go. Just go, Waco.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.